Mr. President,
have you given answered questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities? Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. It's very sad to watch this. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's so, everyone thought it was going to be the reverse. I didn't think so. And I was telling them, you gotta do something. You gotta negotiate. And at the end, last minute, they said, no, we're not going to do that, and they got hit. Remember 60 days, and then came the 60. 61 is going to become a very famous number. That was one hell of a hit. That first hit, that was one hell of a hit. Not sustainable, to be honest. That's where it ended. It ended on the first night. Yes.
Is it too late, though? Do you think it's too late to now?
Not really. Nothing's too late. The only thing too late is Powell. Powell's too late. Too late, Powell.
Have the Iranians reached out to you, Mr. President?
What?
Have the Iranians reached out to you?
Yes.
And what did they say?
I said it's very late. I said it's very late to be talking.
Mr. President,
we may meet. It's. I don't know. There's a big difference between now and a week ago, right? Big difference.
President, you said you may just about said we may meet. Is this about bans and which possibly going to talk about?
It's about anybody. They even suggested they come to the White House. It's a big difference. But they've suggested that they come to the White House. That's, courageous, but, it's like not easy for them to do. But they suggest, because I can't go now because of what's going on. I had to come back early from the G7, which was terrific, by the way, in Canada. Really terrific, good people.
Is there a possibility of next week or sooner that you're...
Well, I don't know how much longer it's going to go on. They're totally defenseless. They have no air defense whatsoever. We've totally captured. We've totally captured the air, Brian.
Yeah, Mr. President, you've been fairly compassionate towards the Iranian people.
I have been. It's human. The human beings. I know a lot of people from Iran, from New York, from Washington, mostly from New York. They're incredible people. They're smart. They're energetic. They can be difficult, but so can you. No, they're great people. They're smart people. And those people are getting the hell beat out of them now. And it's really a shame. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's another one, Russia, Ukraine is so stupid. Would have never happened if I was president. You guys agree with that, right? Would have never happened if I was president. Putin would have never done it. And I spoke to him yesterday, and I said, he actually offered to help mediate. I said, do me a favor. Mediate your own. Let's mediate Russia first, okay? I said, Vladimir, let's mediate Russia first. You can worry about this later. But I think that's going to work out too, but so many people have been killed. The big thing with that one is far more people are dead than have been reported in the Ukraine, Russia. Many, many more people.
Mr. President,
falls down, they say nobody was hurt.
What does unconditional surrender mean?
Well, you know what it means. Unconditional
Can you explain it for those who don't?
Very simple words. Very simple. Unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there. No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore, but we'll see what happens. Look, nothing's finished until it's finished. War is very complex. A lot of bad things can happen. A lot of turns are made. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that we won anything yet. I would say that we sure as hell made a lot of progress. And we'll see. The next week is going to be very big. Maybe less than a week. Maybe less. But is there anybody here that said it would be okay to have a hostile, very, zealots really, but to have a hostile country have a nuclear weapon that could destroy 25 miles, but much more than that, could destroy other nations just by the breeze blowing the dust?
Donald Trump is playing with fire and the world might burn. Trump said total victory. He also said, I may do it or I may not do it. That is, he may strike Iran or he may not strike Iran. But while he's there contemplating if he's going to do it or not, Israel is bombing Iran. Iran is threatening. Real people are dying and the world is at aid. I have some intense clips I've been seeing online and I need you guys to see it too. So let's dive into it.
So a lot of people seem to think we don't need to go into this war with Iran and we don't need to get into it because Trump ran on being the no new war president, and him going over there would be going against what he campaigned on. True, but let's use our thinking caps for a minute, okay? I mean, what do y'all really expect us to do, bro? Just sit around and wait for them to finish building the nuclear weapon, wait for them to bomb Israel, then turn around and wait for them to bomb us, and then be like, oh, yeah, well, now we got a reason to go over there. They done hit us. But while y'all at it, go ahead and redesign a new globe, because the world don't look the same. We've been letting Iran play around with these nuclear bombs. They've been bombing everything. Now they done shifted the tectonic plates of the world. Now the world don't even look the same. Is that what y'all saying, bro? That we got to wait on them to bomb us first before we go over there? Y'all, they are building a nuclear weapon in the side of a mountain in an underground bunker over in Tehran. We're the only ones that got the equipment that can destroy it underground. We're the only ones that got that equipment. So we got to, bruh. Trump has given these people multiple chances to sign a deal. They don't want to sign a deal, bruh. They don't want to. That's on them. There ain't nothing we can do at that point. Trump has tried everything in his power to keep the peace and not start this. Iran, hey, they asking for it. They campaigning for ass whooping, and now they done got elected, bro. And that ain't on nobody but them at the end of the day.
Art of the deal, art of my ass. You think Donald Trump knows what's going on in Israel and Iran? No, he doesn't even take his daily briefings. He has no idea. Benjamin Netanyahu is in charge and he's doing whatever he wants to do. And he's telling Donald Trump, okay, you don't like it? Then check me, boo. And he's not doing it. Donald Trump is pretending that he has some sort of say in whether Israel or Benjamin Netanyahu bombs Iran. He doesn't. Benjamin Netanyahu is doing whatever he wants because he knows Donald Trump isn't going to do a thing about it. There's no art of the deal. He didn't even write this damn book. He doesn't even know how to do a deal.
For all my MAGA lovers and all my right-wing nuts, your daddy just said he want to go to war. He has planned strikes to take out Iran. Y'all need to go enlist. Every last one of y'all needs to go join the armed services. This is how you prove your devotion to your daddy Trump. Not storming the Capitol. Go put your body on the line for him. Go put your body in the line of fire for him. Love that man. Devote your life to him. That is how you prove you love Trump. That is how you prove you love President Trump. You go and you sign your life away to the armed services and you go and you fight. You go on the front lines of Iran and you fight. You know how the Ukrainians went back, to Ukraine to fight on the lines? That's what you need to do. In order to prove that you love your Donald Trump so bad and you love MAGA and you love right-wing people and you are for your people and your people only, you need to go fight. You need to sign up and fight for your man. Fight for your king. Fight for your Lord and Savior. I shouldn't hear not one MAGA lover say, no, I will not go sign up and fight. I shouldn't hear that. Y'all love that man so much. Go ahead and put your life down for him.
All right, I want you to look at this right here. Donald Trump is asking for an unconditional surrender in Iran. And before you all get your panties in a bunch, I want to remind you about something. Donald Trump is one of the only presidents in our modern times that has been working his ass off to try to make sure we do not go to war with Iran, okay? Every single other president that we have ever had would have escalated this from the very beginning. Donald Trump is showing you that he does not want war, just like you don't want war, just like many people in the middle do not want war. But for some reason, they have you focus on the fact that Donald Trump is just like the rest of them. Listen to what you just said. If Donald Trump is just like the rest of them, then why is he trying to do everything he can to not have this war? And the fact that you even bring that up, he's just like the rest of them, that means that every single other president would have wanted war. Why is it that you can't focus on the most important thing? That Donald Trump is trying everything he can to not have this war. Have a great day.
Are we at war? We asked because the president suggested we were just a moment ago, posting numerous times on social media about how, quote, we have total control over the skies over Iran. And, quote, we know where the Ayatollah is hiding. Again, we. So is that President Trump unofficially declaring that we are attacking Iran alongside Israel? If it is, what does that involvement, that attack look like from our end? Is it intelligence or arms? Will it involve U.S. soldiers and U.S. bombers? After all, the going knowledge is that only the United States has a bomb capable of destroying Iran's most protected nuclear site, which is hidden underneath a mountain. A 30,000-pound bunker-busting bomb that can only be carried by an American B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. So is that what Donald Trump is threatening? Or is that just bluster to get Iran to fold to American and Israeli demands? And if so, what are those demands? Or again, is it another nuclear deal? Is it a regime change? We are going to find out soon enough, but keep in mind, this is exactly the kind of foreign entanglement that Donald Trump promised to keep Americans out of. You remember this on the campaign trail for 10 years now. And breaking that promise is already threatening to break his coalition. Or as Tucker Carlson put it, going to war with Iran would mean the end of Donald Trump's presidency.
Trump says that he may attack Iran, but he also said he may not strike Iran and that nobody knows if he's going to strike Iran. He's saying that they need to make a deal, but he also said that when they asked to do so, he said it's too late. He also demanded an unconditional surrender again, but also said he wants to negotiate and that he gave them an ultimate ultimatum. Trump then said he may invite Iran to the White House. He also said he doesn't want to get involved in the war, but he also said that fighting Iran may be necessary and then spoke in past tense about the Iranian nuclear program. With Trump also rejecting Putin's offer to mediate talks, saying, I told Vladimir, let's mediate Russia first. You can worry about this later. Trump then said he used to be the hunted, but now he's the hunter. And now you have both Iran and Israel both saying there will be no negotiations, and Iran says it will not surrender. Additionally, if the U.S. continuing to move assets to the region, and there are well over 50 new tankers in Europe and the Middle East. You also have the U.S. deploying a third carrier next week to the Eastern Mediterranean. And it appears that the American buildup at this point is just undeniable. You've got American diplomats and their families being evacuated out of the embassy in Israel. Right, and all of this is you have U.S. intelligence saying that Iran is not seeking to create a nuclear weapon and that even if they were, they would be at least 3 years from doing so. However, Israeli intelligence says that Iran is, but when it was shown to the U.S., reportedly our intelligence agencies found it unconvincing. And when asked about that, you had Trump saying he didn't care. And so for now, follow to stay in the loop.
If Donald Trump does go through with attacking Iran and they decide to attack back, and it quite possibly does trigger a third world war. Here's my suggestions for who should be on the front lines. Obviously, MAGA supporters, anyone who came from a red county or a red city, and Philadelphia Eagle fans. And for honorable mention, New York Knicks fans.
What is your problem?
Trump, do not get the United States into a war with Iran because of Israel. Do not get the United States into a war with Iran over Israel. Don't get us involved. You campaigned in 2020 and 2024. You would not do this. Do not get us in a war. Please let Donald Trump know if you don't want to get into another war, a war with Iran right now, please help me use your voice to let him know, don't get us in one. I don't want us in one. We don't need to be in one. This whole war should have never happened. The whole reason we're even here is because Donald Trump, in his brilliant ways, ended the Iran nuclear deal that Iran promised not to create any more nuclear material for their nuclear weapons program in 2018. In 2015, President Obama had gotten Iran to negotiate that they would not produce any more nuclear material for nuclear weapons or anything if we would lift economic sanctions. They agreed. Needless to say, Donald Trump tried to undo anything and everything President Obama had done that helped the U.S. and the world. This was a good thing that had been done, and Donald Trump goes and undoes it. So now because of that, we're here basically 7 years later. This is all thanks to Donald Trump and also thanks to Netanyahu and Israel. So use your voice, tell Donald Trump, do not get us in a war. I don't want to get us in a war. And speaking of wars, I'm going to talk about ICE and their massive overspending, out of control. You'd think they were out all night, every night, all the time, spending money they don't have, which they've done. let them know, no new wars for the United States, Donald Trump, period. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. And how about all of y'all folks in Michigan, you know, from the Middle East that voted for Donald Trump? You see what he's done with you in Israel, right? Yep, you see.
We may be hours, if not at most days away from a war with Iran. President Trump has now privately approved the attack plans. Multiple sources confirm the U.S. military has its targets ready, strike orders drafted, and troops on standby. But the final order has not been given yet. One more aircraft carrier is still en route. 2 carrier strike groups are already in position. The moment that the 3rd ship arrives, everything could possibly change. Trump has said he wants to make the final call 1 second before it's due, but those plans are already locked in. Targets have been selected. Commanders are waiting. 40,000 plus U.S. troops are already deployed across the region. Aircraft are in the skies. Warships are in striking range. This is not a drill. Iran's leadership is on high alert. They have held emergency national security meetings and vowed not to surrender under pressure. We are likely going to be going live tonight or tomorrow to announce that the U.S. is either at war or right on the edge of it. We may have 24 to 48 hours before the strikes begin, or it could just be hours. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and Substack for all updates and all reports.
Could the United States be going to war with Iran? A war no one wants and a war that was completely avoidable. Bloomberg is reporting that the United States is preparing to attack Iran as soon as this weekend. Donald Trump's tone on the matter has shifted in recent days, leaning more towards entering the war and attacking Iran. Online, he's tweeting and writing on Truth Social saying that we have control of Iranian airspace. We have attacked said targets. We, meaning America and Israel together, instead of saying in the first days that we're not entering the war. He literally said he did not want to enter the war. And Trump appears to be extremely susceptible to being influenced by close friends and allies. And Lindsey Graham, the senator from North Carolina, is the one that is speaking most in Trump's ear, and he loves war. There's a certain subsect of this government that loves war. You know why? Because people profit. When America's at war, America makes money. And unfortunately, this country is always about capitalism, and it's always about personal vendettas and always personal self-interest. And this war, like I said, is completely avoidable. This is not the way anybody wants to enter the summer. I don't think we should be sending any troops to go be killed by anyone. I don't think America should be focusing our money, our efforts on war with a country that we weren't at war with when our own country is crumbling from within. But yeah, we could be going to war with Iran, guys.
We have breaking news right now. Donald Trump is now becoming increasingly comfortable with striking Iran, specifically the Fordo nuclear facility in Iran. According to ABC News, preparations are being taken now to possibly launch this strike, which would drag the United States into a conflict with Iran. Now, this wouldn't be one strike on the Fordo facility. This would take multiple strikes to destroy the nuclear facility. And according to ABC News, at this hour, he is becoming more comfortable with launching this strike. As I told you earlier, the Wall Street Journal reported that Donald Trump actually greenlit military operations against Iran last night, but it has yet to be executed because Trump is waiting to see whether or not Iran will actually abandon its nuclear program before Trump takes action. But it is looking increasingly likely that as soon as tonight, you could have B-52, B-2 bombers in the air and launching bunker busters at this specific nuclear facility. I'll provide you updates every step of the way. Subscribe to my Substack at the link to my bio to support my work, and follow along for all the news you need to know about. I'll have much more to come soon.
Okay, so America going to war with Iran looks imminent. And if you see a video from me later tonight or tomorrow morning saying that we have gone to war with Iran, I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm saying this because Trump has approved the strikes on Iran with the use of the American military. And according to reporting from ABC, the military is already taking preparations underway to make the strikes happen. Now, the reason why the strikes haven't happened yet, even though he's given them the approval, is because he hasn't given them the final approval that puts the missiles in the air. And we're learning the reason why he hasn't given that final go-ahead just yet is apparently because he wants to give Iran some final opportunity to stop construction of nuclear weapons. And from everything that I've seen from Iran in the last 72 hours is that they don't really seem to be willing to talk. But maybe it will change. Iran will be willing to talk now that the missiles are ready to be fired. Or maybe even Trump will realize that most Americans don't want to go into another war in the Middle East. But everything that we've seen in the last 3 days just seems to indicate this trajectory of getting closer and closer and closer to war with Iran. But there still is that chance that cooler heads will prevail, the missiles won't be launched, and we won't go to war. But I'll make sure to keep you guys updated with what's going on. I guess we're all going to figure it out together.
America's biggest fucking liar, Donald Trump, just approved plans to strike Iran. After, for 3 days, getting in everybody's fucking face and lying, we have no business with Iran. We have nothing to do with that. The United States is not going to be involved. After saying all that dumb bullshit, you approve plans to strike Iran? Donald Trump is literally Netanyahu's bitch. Everything that you guys tried to ascribe to Joe Biden and falsely tried to ascribe to Kamala Harris is literally what the fuck Donald Trump is. The first administration, Donald Trump literally bent to Netanyahu and did everything that he wanted. And you guys still, well, let me not say you guys, people still don't call him out for any of that shit. They still want to criticize Kamala Harris for this kind of dumb shit, though. But then Donald Trump is now doing everything that Joe Biden was allegedly doing while he was in office. And it's fucking crickets from everybody. Are you fucking kidding me? The United States is being pulled into a war that they have absolutely no business being in when Donald Trump campaigned and was elected being the no war fucking president. I'm sitting here looking around at everybody like they're fucking idiots because everybody that allowed this shit to happen is a fucking idiot.
What happens when the most powerful man in the world posts just 2 words that could change everything? Unconditional surrender. That's what President Trump just demanded from Iran in all caps on his social media. Yeah, great way to do diplomacy, marking a dramatic escalation in what's already a dangerous conflict. Trump didn't stop there though. He revealed that, or claimed that, the US knows exactly where Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei is hiding, calling him a, quote, easy target, but adding ominously that America won't kill him, at least for now. This isn't just tough talk though. Trump abruptly left the G7 summit in Canada. I covered that recently, cutting his international trip short to rush back to Washington, the capital, where he immediately convened his national security team in the Situation Room for over an hour of urgent discussions. The timing couldn't be more critical as Israel and Iran are now locked in their 6th day of direct warfare, with Israeli jets bombing Tehran still, while Iranian missiles light up the skies over Tel Aviv still. Behind closed doors, Trump is reportedly weighing options, whether to order American military strikes against Iran's underground nuclear facilities, which would require the US military's most powerful bunker-busting bombs, weapons only America possesses. Obviously, he knows, and everyone else knows, that deploying such weapons from bases in the Middle East would mean that Tehran would be forced, if Tehran is to be believed, Iran would be forced to respond and directly attack the US and its assets in the region. This would bring the US directly into conflict, of course. Right now, they are supporting Israel, but is indirect conflict. This decision could define Trump's entire presidency and potentially drag the United States into its 3rd Middle East war since 2001. Excellent peacemakers. What makes this moment so dangerous is that both sides are talking past each other. They're not actually talking to each other. Trump wants Iran to completely abandon its nuclear program. I remind you, it's a peaceful nuclear program. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapons program, at least not officially. So Trump's demanding something officially that doesn't really exist. While Iran's supreme leader just declared they will never accept, quote, imposed war or imposed peace, warning that any US intervention would cause, quote, irreparable damage. You can't go back from damage that's irreparable. But even in this darkest hour, there are signs that cooler heads and wisdom and restraint might actually prevail. Multiple sources report that Iran has been quietly reaching out through back channels diplomatically, expressing interest in de-escalation talks, while Trump himself has hinted that his team is trying to arrange meetings with Iranian officials. The world is holding its breath because everyone understands that despite the heated rhetoric, both sides know that total war serves no one's interest except one, Israel. Israel, as I have been claiming for months, in fact, way before June 13th, Israel needs a war ASAP. You can go back through my page, you can see where I say Israel wants a war, the US does not, Iran does not. So it's in the American and the Iranian interest to find a way to peace, not war. And sometimes, although the loudest threats are actually coming from the greatest potential pieces on the board, the loudest threats are actually the first steps towards finding a way back from the brink. So we carry on watching with bated breath to see if we're looking towards peace, an uneasy one maybe, but peace nonetheless, or if we're looking towards upping the percentage chance of things slipping into a third world war. I'll keep you posted. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, you know by now where to find me. I'm Mahfouz, and I'll see you on the next one.
Trump teases U.S. strikes on Iran, but is it real or just a rhetorical bluff? So today Trump bounced between threat and tease. I may do it, I may not do it, I'm the only one who can do it, I'm the only one who knows. That's what he said when asked if he'd authorize strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. Meanwhile, U.S. forces in the region are on alert, and Iran's already warning of irreparable damage if the U.S. jumps in. This isn't just posturing anymore. Trump's framing it as an ultimatum, demanding Iran's unconditional surrender, but without political or congressional backing. This kind of brinkmanship risks triggering the very war he might say he's avoiding. So will this be a deadly shot across the bow or just another tweet ready stunt? What do you think? I don't know.
Things are now getting serious, i.e. Donald Trump is getting serious. His words that he's now using on the world stage where everyone is watching, he's showing that he is the commander-in-chief of the US military, and we are seeing the strength of the US military. We're seeing the conflict in Iran and Israel being shown to us, and at the same time we had all the riots in LA and all the riots and protests throughout the country, and Donald Trump, with his authority, brought in the National Guard, brought in the Marines. On his birthday, and also the same day, the 250th anniversary of the US military, we had the parade. He's showcasing that now. And Donald Trump's now just put out stern warnings on social media where he says, we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defense equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than good old USA. And then it's the warning. So listen to this. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, in brackets, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. And then unconditional surrender, all in capitals. Donald Trump is commander-in-chief. So if we take that and connect it with everything else that we're seeing, he is the man that's going to bring world peace, peace through strength. He's not putting up with terrorism anymore. He's not putting up with all these different protesters and everyone else. He's making things happen. And this is where we are heading. And Iran does open up the door, because he also brought our attention again with another post to show that Obama sent over pallets full of cash to Iran. And we all know where that money actually led to. So we are moving into the next chapter, and Donald Trump is really showcasing now he is in full control.
I'm telling you this right now. If we go to war with Iran, I'm not dying for Israel. I'm not going to serve in the military. I'm not going to serve in the army. I'm not dying for Netanyahu. I'm not dying for anybody who's a Jew. I'm not dying for Donald Trump. I'm not dying for neither congressman or congresswoman that's showing support for Israel. It's not happening. Send all the congressmen and congresswomen on the battlefield since they love Israel so much. Let them fight and die for Israel. Let Netanyahu fight and die for his own country. Let the Israel military fight and die for their own country. This is Israel's battle and Israel's battle alone. America and Donald Trump needs to stay the fuck out of this. Again, I don't know what type of blackmail Netanyahu and Israel have on Donald Trump, but he's literally bending at the will of Netanyahu. He will tell Donald Trump to jump, and Trump will be like, how high? It's like Trump and these political leaders forget to stand on their own 2 feet when it comes to Israel. What do they have on y'all for y'all to literally sell out your own country? It's disgusting, it's despicable, it's cowardness, and this is not what America wanted.
It looks like we're going to war.
Trump made a statement stating that Iran needs to give up their nuclear weapons, and Iran said that they'll never surrender. And Trump basically said that that leaves us no choice. What does that mean? So within the past 24 hours, they already started deploying military personnel out to the Middle East. But here is probably one of the biggest things out of everything that's kind of unfolding is the sleeper cells. All right. So the sleeper cells is basically, it's terrorist groups that are here at our home base that are ready to attack everyone here in the United States. And these attacks, they can be anywhere: schools, train stations, malls, you name it. Doesn't really matter. They're terrorist groups. All right. And most people are not prepared for that. I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back, there was a leader of a terrorist group that crossed the border. And he said, "You guys don't know who I am now, but soon you will know me." All right. And the internet went crazy and they found this guy. And this guy was one of the main guys from ISIS. All right. So that just kind of goes to show you what we have here. All right. And nobody's really safe.
Donald Trump is calling for the unconditional surrender of the leader of Iran. And this is extremely important because many people are believing that this could be the last things that happen before the United States starts directly being involved. These announcements are coming from Trump's Truth Social. We need to break them down. You can see this one here 38 minutes ago, unconditional surrender, but this is the one you have to read. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We're not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then said this a little bit earlier. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Between this and what Pete Hegseth has done with the carrier strike groups, it really does indicate that, yes, we're moving closer and closer to war with Iran. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, so please do share my videos and follow me for more.
President Trump has asked Iran for an unconditional surrender. This is a very scary time in which we are living. I know most Americans do not want this war with Iran. I don't think anyone wants war. But we cannot lay back and be dormant as they threaten United States military bases and threaten to make Israel uninhabitable. It wasn't even 2 months ago the left was saying, what about our allies? We have to support our allies. Do you remember that? Now, once again, when it's time to put your money where your mouth is, there's backpedaling. President Trump is a president of peace, not war. He did not want this war. He asked Israel not to strike Iran. But after Iran backed out of the scheduled nuclear negotiations with the United States and started threatening military bases of the United States, we have to do something. Hopefully they will be sensible and come to an agreement and surrender.
Have you been briefed by the administration on this, and do you think that the U.S. needs to get involved in a more direct way?
No. No and no. The United States, our involvement should be to help de-escalate, to help de-conflict. We should be encouraging both parties to back off, to calm down, not trying to throw more fuel on the fire and see if we can expand the conflict in the Middle East and drag America into another endless war in that region. I remind everyone, Constitution of the United States, the only government official that can actually declare war is the United States Congress, not the President of the United States. He should not be in the business of trying to escalate enough that he may think that Congress has no choice but to join him. The Democrats are very much opposed to starting another war in the Middle East. And they want to keep the United States out of this. They want to see the parties. calm down a little here and get back to the negotiating table.
When a president says we know where he's hiding, we may do it or we may not. That's not just talk. That is a warning or a promise. And if he eventually strikes, it won't just be the Middle East that bleeds. American troops will be sent. Families will lose their sons, their daughters, their fathers. Retaliation won't be far, and no one is ready for what that actually means. Don't need to agree with me, but if this eventually turns into war, it won't be Trump that will pay the price. It will be people here, there, and everywhere. This world is heavy right now, so wherever you are, I hope you stay out safe. If this message moves you, I hope you share it, drop a comment, let's talk. And if you're rocking with me, hit the subscribe button. See you on the next one.